We now welcome in Kevin Lennon. He's the NCAA's Vice President of Academic and Membership Affairs. And Kevin, let's start with this. Why did the NCAA decide not to suspend the 5 players in question for the Sugar Bowl?
Well, first of all, the Ohio State University availed themselves of a policy that's been in existence since 2004 that specifically speaks to withholding conditions relative to a postseason bowl game or an NCAA championship event. And as we evaluated the circumstances and the information provided by the university, the facts were consistent with that policy. And so we applied the criteria that has been established, and that involves a number of factors. In this instance, there was an acknowledgement that the student-athletes were not aware at the time that they were committing violations, and this was confirmed by the institution.
Okay, but going back to that, the fact that what you guys say, I think your wording was they didn't receive adequate rules education. Pat Forty wrote about that in his column on ESPN.com today. The "we didn't know" defense, that could now be a blanket defense for anybody put in a compromising situation with the NCAA, couldn't it?
Well, yeah, I would like to speak to that maybe on broader terms, because I do recognize that there are concerns have been expressed about this lack of knowledge as a way of escaping a penalty. And first and foremost, I think in this instance, if you talk to the student-athletes, I don't believe they've escaped any penalty. These are significant penalties that impact them and impact their institution.
But what if this decision forces these student-athletes to go pro then? In one sense, wouldn't they be skirting the penalty?
Well, you know, they're going to have to make a decision on their own whether or not they want to turn professional next year. That's something that they would evaluate, I assume, probably whether they sat out 5 games or 4 games. You know, those are decisions that young people have to make that are in that situation. We would obviously encourage them to continue to pursue their degree. I believe they're close to their degrees, and that would be the best outcome. But, you know, I'm not sure, again, the difference between 4 games and 5 games, it would be so impactful in their decisions. What our penalties reflect is significant violations of the rules. That's why they're sitting out the games next year.
Mark May yesterday, and I'm sure you heard, he was pretty adamant that there's a double standard in his eyes, the way the NCAA treats certain conferences. He made the point of Ryan Mallett, that if this was Ryan Mallett, he wouldn't have been able to play in the Sugar Bowl. Your response to what he said yesterday?
Yeah, I did hear that, and I thought that was unfortunate and really unfounded. You know, the NCAA, we treat all of our member institutions equally. We look at the facts that are presented to us. You know, you have to make decisions on the facts that you have in front of you, and I can assure you, after 23 years at the NCAA, we simply don't do that. We don't treat schools differently. We don't treat conferences differently, and I thought it was just an unfortunate statement on his part.
All right, Kevin Lennon, the NCAA's Vice President of Academic and Membership Affairs, giving us the NCAA's response here on College Football Live. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great Christmas and happy holidays.
You too.